Alright, I just restarted, so it might take a minute to pull everything up again, but what's up? I'm here, and we are streaming, so if you can't see me or hear me... Okay, good! People says we're back up. Awesome. Yeah, I just restarted. I don't know why that happened, but I was continuing to stream and it just suddenly... Everyone said that I was offline, so we started over. But yeah. I'm really excited to be Arwen. I'm really looking forward to this. I've been a big Lord of the Rings fan since probably high school or middle school when the... Thank you. And now my my wonderful million sub YouTuber husband just brought me a beer because he is wonderful. What's up, everybody? All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining my stream today, and I can give you an idea of what we are going to be doing. These pieces actually overlap, and I wish I had just printed this all out as one piece, but I didn't. Halia Artisan, thanks for subbing. You're excited to see Arwen? I'm excited that people are excited to see Arwen. So I have devised a plan for this. It was partially, I'm still partially caught off guard by the fact that I just spent all day with Jared instead of working on my own stuff, but that's okay. We're still ready to get started. So basically, I am trying to determine what order to start laying these pieces down in. And the very first thing that I need to do is just draw my pattern onto my background here. It's LOTR, Lord of the Rings. So we are doing Lord of the Rings cosplay. Thanks for all the subs, Cupcake Valkyrie and Gift Nova. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for coming and supporting me after Jared's stream. You know, hopefully this can be interesting even though I got off to a kind of a slow start. So the first thing I'm doing is literally just tracing these 2D shapes onto this board that I'm going to use to just kind of guide myself as I go. And I think this one needs to go down first, if I recall. So the hard part about this is that all of these, it's got all these like intersecting pieces that are like woven together. And so pieces are overlapping each other in really weird ways. And I need to make sure that I lay this clay down in such a way that makes it all look good. I should have probably used a different pen, but whatever. So this is just a guideline. I created this digitally to help me visualize everything. And so these pieces should all fit together pretty perfectly if I did it right. They're like a little puzzle. Okay, that looks good to me. So pardon for a moment as I get all this set up. So I'm pretty much just tracing outlines to help myself know where to lay down the clay. And then the reason why I cut it out into like layers in the way that it is right here is it so that I could more easily visually understand which pathways are connected to each other. Jesse Highwind, thanks for subbing. Alright, I might have missed some, I'm sure I missed lots of comments and stuff from the chat, so I apologize. Give me a moment and then hopefully I can pay a little bit better attention. Thank you guys for the dramatic raid, finishing Jared's 1 million subscriber stream. I am so super proud of him for doing all of that today. Jared's awesome. Okay. So these lines cross under there, but over this. So yeah, the version of the outfit that we're making is the one that Arwen wears at the very beginning of, well, it's not the beginning of the movie, but it's her first scene in the series, in Fellowship of the Ring, when she shows up to help Frodo. That's what we're making, and I think it's gonna be really good. Or I hope so anyway. That's the goal. Okay, I think that's, oh wait, it's not connected down here. Or there. Oh my gosh, you guys are all this generosity just coming from Jared's stream. What have we got? Sorry, I've got like so many windows up over here. Tiny Bear resubbed for 3 months, and Shadow Viper is also subscribed. Thank you guys so much. Welcome to our stream. So I've got this rough shape down now. It's still useful for me to have these like visibly separately so that I can kind of understand what all of the layers are doing together. Then I'm gonna do one more thing for my own sanity, is to just prepare another reference image for myself. Okay. There we go. You know, I can totally put this into here, I believe. Give me just 1 second and I'll set that up. It's been like a slow day today. For me anyway, and then now I'm like scrambling to get started at the right time. I wasn't sure if I was gonna start my stream like late or like much later than usual because I wasn't sure how long it would take Jared to reach his milestone. So it ended up being like perfect timing where it was about time for my scheduled stream to start. There we go, that's way too big, but that's what I'm trying to make. Oh hey, Army of Ancients. Oops, that was undo. There we go. It's just like not maintaining. There we go, with the control button, not shift. Okay, that is what I need. That is the correct aspect ratio. So there in the corner is what I am attempting to sculpt. There we go. And now you get more of an idea of what I'm up to today. Thank you so much, Army of Ancients. So that's a really cool like metal wedding arch. I'm already married, but it's just for photography purposes, basically. We've been doing a lot of photography lately. If you've been following Instagram or Twitter, it feels like almost all of the photos that I've posted lately have been taken by Jared. He's been doing lots and lots of photos for me. And so that's been wonderful because we're like teaming up on something that we both enjoy and getting really cool results out of it. So we've been just enjoying photography and learning a lot about it, and started to do photos like in our house as well with like a little photo studio setup. So I've been working on various things that I've kind of posted out here and there, like a flower wall and other kinds of like backdrops and props that I want to use for photography indoors. Because we live in Washington and it just rains here all the time. Oh, hey, Milieu. Hey, everybody else. So I'm doing super well today. Even better now that you're all here. So I believe I determined that this layer here with these background leaves is like the lowest layer, at least in these sections. So I am just going to start filling in these shapes, really. I mean, I'm not a great sculptor. Doing it in like two-dimensional forms first really helps me to be able to see the shapes correctly. And then otherwise I'll just smooth it out as I go. What's that? No, that was just something spontaneously falling. I'm never sure when Aries is turning up, which is most of the time. What am I sculpting out of? Someone asked. Is this is monster clay. So it's just like an oil and wax based clay. It is pretty easy to work with and it doesn't dry out. It's really useful for sculpting things that you want to cast, which is my plan for this. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm not particularly skilled at this, but I know that if I work long enough, I can make the thing look like what I want it to. So that's mildly encouraging, is that, you know, it'll eventually turn out. How did I get into cosplay? I just started going to conventions and I really wanted to do it. I've always been an artist and worked with various mediums, whether it's just been drawing or painting back then, I guess, is what I was doing when I was much younger. And I started going to conventions and it was like this wonderful place where, you know, it's full of nerds and I felt at home and stuff. But the coolest part of the cons for me was seeing people walking around in like various artistic outfits and stuff. And so I had all these ideas for things I wanted to make, both for cosplay and for just other non-cosplay costumes. And yeah, it just didn't take me very long to get into it because as soon as I knew about the community, I was like, this is the thing I want to do with my time. Salem Kitty is asking about the monster clay. So no, it never hardens. It does not cure. It's just an oil and wax based clay. So it's like, it's ideal for situations where you aren't, like, the clay itself doesn't become your final piece. It's for casting primarily. You might be able to do other things with it, but that's most of the applications that I've heard of is just people sculpting things for casting. It's used a lot for like prop making and also for makeup and that kind of stuff. So this design is really weird because it's got all these pieces kind of going over each other and I do want to be able to cast this eventually. So I'm trying to make it as flat as possible so that it won't actually have like undercuts, places that are, well, it's hard to describe. I guess like a lot of hollow spaces on the bottom or in between things. Just for the simplicity of casting. I don't know. I don't want to get too much in the technical details because most of you guys probably don't care, but hopefully we'll eventually do that on stream too. It's not very difficult. You know, I usually do prop making and stuff privately because it's not my forte, but I think I know what I'm doing finally. Josie Highwind is saying, is air clay a good alternative to making a cosplay cape button? I don't know, I've never used it for that. I would say it depends on what you're doing, but you can also just buy cover buttons and then like whatever color you need, you can put it on there. I'm just curious why you would sculpt it. I don't know. I guess that depends on what you're trying to make. Sorry, that's not a very good answer. So this guy goes over there next. And then it connects to other leaf. Although there's even more shit. All right, whatever. I'm gonna make this work. What's the weather like in Bonertown? It is very crisp and beautiful. That's my Twitter profile, actually. Will I try to cast the final piece in only one piece? Yes. So the amount of detail is not an issue. The amount of overlapping pieces, undercuts would be an issue, but that's like, again, I'm trying to describe what it would be in like non-technical terms, but basically, what is the name here? Cherenkov. I'm sorry. Thanks for the sub. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Make a time lapse of making one of these. Well, I'm not very fast is part of the problem. I'm just kind of working at my own pace here because this does not come naturally to me, and this is not what my training is in. But that's part of the beauty of cosplay, is that most of the time, I would say most of us don't know what we're really doing. It's just a matter of, you know, exploring the medium and doing what you want to. Tin Hat Cat, thank you for subscribing. Dang, I've got so many generous Jared supporters here tonight, I guess. But I welcome you all. Thanks for coming to my streams. All right, I need to probably go faster. If the stuff is overlapping, it might not be flat to the back, leaving an uneven underside. That's what the gamer girl is asking. That's what I'm trying to explain, is that my goal here is to make the back flat. It will appear to have, and it will be made out of different levels, but the back will be flat, and that is the desirable goal. So whether or not I can actually achieve that without having too many like holes on the underside that would interfere with the casting process, I guess is the best way to describe it. Could make this somewhat complicated, but I'm still very confident in my ability to get the results I'm looking for. I guess I'll just say it that way. You know, sometimes it just takes a little bit of effort, and if I have to do multiple casts or whatever, it shouldn't be a problem, but I feel confident that I will get the results I'm looking for, one way or another. It always turns out that way because I just keep working until I do. I don't always have the answers, and I don't always know exactly what's going to happen, and I'm often doing things where I feel in over my head, but you know, none of that matters in the face of just like working hard and practicing, because if something goes wrong, you just fix it. You just do it again. Hell yeah. Ellie Pants stayed for all of Jared's stream. Dang, that's so much. Well, thank you for the support. So it's not actually, Stray Threads is asking, it's like a brooch on the back. It's not actually. All it is like, it's just a flat piece of metal. And she has ribbons that weave through it. It basically holds the front ribbons of her dress together. So there's ribbons that like weave through the holes and come down into the center and hang down. That's what I'm making right now is, so I call it a buckle for like simplicity, but it's really not a buckle. Well, I don't know exactly what it is or what to call it because it doesn't have a pin back either. It's just a chunk of metal that's a part of her costume. And hopefully I can make it look cool. All right. Looking at my interesting little list. Well, thank you guys so much. A lot of people are heading out. I know a lot of people have been watching Jared stream for a long time. Well, thanks for stopping by before you go pass out. All right. So what makes this complicated is, it might just be like visually complicated because really they look like continuous lines, but they're not going to actually be. They're going to be, I should just make some noodles here. Making noodles. Kind of a noodle bundle with a clasping purpose. Yes, that's a good way of describing it. It really is just a, it's almost like a piece of jewelry, but it just is woven into the ribbons of her outfit. Okay. I don't know if today is going to be a really long stream, but I want to get some progress on this done, at least to like kind of lay down the shapes. I have to kind of press it down onto the sculpting board and make sure there aren't holes on the back side. I'm gonna try to smooth it all out later and make it look as nice as possible. Yeah, I really like this Persona music. Penguin Cosplay just subscribed for 10 months saying, I'm so happy to have been around since you started streaming. Can't wait to see more cosplays come together on streams. Thank you so much. That's right. It was my stream anniversary for my very first stream on April 1st, because April 1st is my birthday, and my very, very first stream of all time was on my birthday last year. So I didn't get to do that again this year because I was at SakuraCon on my birthday, and then we came home and I was just super exhausted that night. But anyway, yeah, it was my birthday this past weekend, and I had a really, really good time at a convention that I was at, and it was a wonderful way to spend my birthday. So thank you guys for hanging out with me and the support for, yeah, this is my sort of belated birthday stream. I wanted to do like a birthday party stream and I just didn't. So, oh well. I have never watched One Piece, Tiny Bear is asking. And thank you, Salem Kitty. It was a wonderful birthday. Thank you guys. All right, I'm kind of trying to warm this hands up with my clay up with my hand. That's what I'm trying to say. So pardon my leisurely pace here. This thing is probably gonna look pretty garbagey for a while at first as I figure out how to get started. Oh, that's right. I'll complete this line first. And I'll have to try to make everything as smooth and even as possible here at the end. There might be a better way to do this, but I'm just doing what I know and what I'm familiar with. And I feel pretty confident that it will eventually work out. Alright. I also can't see from my own... I need a second monitor, man. Jared has two, and it really helps him. I've got way too many things on one screen, but I'm trying to see things. Making noodles, that's right. So much of sculpting is just like making noodles and pancakes. I mean, I don't know, I'm not... Too thick. So this one is actually supposed to go under these leaves. I'm basically just gonna build up the layers so that it looks like they're overlapping in the way that they need to. But that way the back is not full of, the back will appear to be flat as one piece and not have a bunch of like holes on the underside that would be difficult to cast around. So the way these overlap, one comes over there. It then goes under this like leaf shape. So I'm just smushing this down. Yeah, this is a great playlist. This is the same thing that Jared was listening to at the end of his stream, which was a DJ Cutman. Well, it's Radio Cutman. So this is a non-stop streaming channel that you can listen to 24/7 if you like to. Straight on YouTube from DJ Cutman. Really excellent artist, and a lot of associated artists as well. So this is now becoming a part of the leaf, so it looks like it's going over the other band. And basically, this is what I'm gonna end up doing. So from the top, it looks like you have like pieces, like noodles that are weaving through each other, but what's actually happening is that it's all one solid piece where they're intersecting. And that's what's gonna allow me to cast it without it just being a total mess. I hope, anyway. I'll probably put some wire in it to try to like strengthen it a little bit, because these are all like very thin pieces, but I think it will be fine with the right kind of internal structure if I need to. Yeah, Penguin Cosplay in the chat is asking, is anybody working on anything tonight? Which is a really good question. If you're here working on a costume or your own art project, or I don't know, cooking something or doing something artistic, let us know and share your work. Writing a book? Atlantean Angel is writing a book? That sounds cool. Oh, Salem Kitty's drawing. That makes me happy to hear. I'm a big fan of Salem Kitty's art. Doing bookbinding, Loser Mania, that sounds awesome. Makeup for a makeup class, that's extra exciting. Momocon costumes, bookbinding, armor pieces from Mahomadi. More noodles, homework, painting a model. That sounds fun. Painting a model. I'm just gonna make a fatter noodle, I guess. Yeah, near music. All right, so this clay, the interesting thing about it is that it's very temperature sensitive. So I keep working it through my hands in order to soften it, because otherwise it's too, it's literally too hard to manipulate. So if you're working on something big, it can be really helpful to have a heat gun on hand. No, this is too much material. Where you can just like heat your project directly as you work. But I'm not doing that, so I'm just using my fingers to warm this up pretty much, which is luckily pretty easy. So even though I have all these sculpting tools, it still helps to use my fingers because it's like adding warmth and making the clay more malleable. Yeah, so it doesn't. So one of the confusing things, or one of the things that often confuses people with monster clay, is that what I'm working on right now is only for casting. It is never going to harden into the final piece. Like, I'm not going to finish sculpting this and then bake it and then wear it or something like that. This is only for creating a shape that I can make a mold of and then cast into another material. So this clay will never harden. It will never become a final part of my costume. It only exists kind of as a preliminary form in order to make a cast off of. So I know that can be confusing. Hey, Leocho subscribing again for 7 months, cool, saying, hey Heidi, always happy to see you back at it. Will you be attending Fanime this year? I will. Fanime is our next event. Jared will be with me, so both of us will be there. And I'm really looking forward to Fanime. I had such a great Fanime last year. It's a really great con, just a lot of fun. Like very much a fan con. Okay, so there's those two interwoven shapes. I need to do quite a bit of refining. But I think my very first task is going to just be to figure out all these in Doodle. Well, I don't know. Let me take another look at my reference image here. I think I should host a panel. Well, I think it's too late for this Fanime because usually those things are kind of decided farther in advance. But I wouldn't mind hosting more panels in the future. I used to do panels like pretty frequently at conventions. I just haven't signed up for anything because I haven't been going to as many local cons, and I'm kind of getting used to a new set of local conventions. Leoto, I hope so too. I hope that we run into each other there. Okay. So one of the cool things about monster clay being temperature sensitive in the way that it is that you can use heat as like to your advantage as you're sculpting it. So I might actually just kind of melt this stuff together. Like I'm laying all my shapes down, but I can just like point my heat gun at it. And apply heat and make those pieces just kind of melt down together. I'm using a set of sculpting tools that are brand new, have never been used, and I got these off the stream wish list, so thank you so much. I can actually look it up, although that'll take a while, sorry. Thank you guys so much for everybody who has supported the stream through purchasing anything off the wish list. Those items are being used directly to create this costume, so that is what they're there for. If you enjoy these streams and you feel like you want to contribute to helping me keep going, that's the best way to do it. And then everything that gets purchased there is like directly a part of what I'm making here. So this is in the background. I probably put too much clay on this, but that's okay. Just make it a part of this other leaf. Part of the problem is like having too many tools and not knowing what I want to use. I mean, it's not really a problem, it's just something I have to get used to. Yeah, the clay is really fun. Oh, Jesse Highwind's heading out. Well, thanks for hanging out, Jesse. We'll see you next time. Yeah, putting monster clay in a crock pot is, seems kind of strange, but it definitely works. When I was working on the squid head, last year I sculpted a squid head for a Splatoon cosplay. And when I was making that one, I was working on a cast of my own head and just sculpting it, and I had all of my clay melted into a crock pot. And so there was just liquid clay at my hand, at my side throughout that entire process. But it was super useful. Oh, hello. Hello. Look who has graced us with his presence. It's the boy. Did you have a nice day? No, you don't want to sit up that high. You just want to sit low on my lap. See, he always wants to like interrupt the stream, but he never wants to be like visible. There he is. See, he's so much happier now that he's just chilling on my lap. Does liquid clay have a smell to it? It smells just kind of like wax. It doesn't smell like anything. It's like unscented candles. Professional stream intruder, that is so true. He spends all day interrupting other people who are streaming and recording things, and that's Aries life here. Yes, classic cat move. The boy. I'm just gonna leave this on boy cam for a little bit, for as long as he chooses to grace us with his presence. Are you happy? You want some beer? Do you know that your dad has 1 million subs on YouTube now? No, you have absolutely no concept of what that's like. That's okay. Boy cam. He's gonna get his hair all over what I'm trying to sculpt, but you know what? Sometimes sacrifices have to be made. All right, goodbye. Goodbye, Aries. That's it for boy cam. Boy cam is over. He is very pretty. He's a beautiful cat. He's also, you know, very demanding and wants to be the center of attention all the time. But he's very precious. So I'm trying to build up these leaves kind of at the point where they're supposed to be overlapping this other strand, so that the progression looks a little more natural. This guy should be useful. So I never learned how to sculpt in like a class or anything like that. I just kind of started doing it and messing around until, see, this is the reason I cut them out separately, so that I could kind of overlay it and check my progress. I just kind of messing around until I figured out how to make shapes that look good. And that's still subjective, but I've gradually started to get a little bit more of an idea what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to smooth these areas out, and it actually helps to like roughen them up more so that it displaces the clay a little bit, and then you can smooth more effectively because it's creating like divots and stuff and raised areas more naturally. That wasn't a very good explanation, but you guys are used to me rambling probably by this point. Unless you're new here, in which case, welcome to my half-assed explanations of things that I sort of understand what I'm doing, but not really. Anyway, my goal for tonight is to at least just kind of lay down rough shapes and get started at least. What time are we at? 7:50. Okay, so we've been going for most of an hour at this point. I don't really have a set goal here because I know I'm not going to finish this tonight, but if I can get to a point where it's starting to look like the thing, then that'll be pretty productive, I think. I love this station. It's a good-ass station. It is a pretty chill stream. Thank you guys for joining me. Glorious Goo, yes, this is good for making silicone molds. Bye, Timely Witch. See you later. Everyone's just kind of working on stuff. That's good. Leoto, yes, we're having a little sculpting party here between the two of us and the rest of the chat. A lot of people going to get sleep. That's okay. I know us being on the West Coast is late in the day or late in the evening for a lot of people in other time zones. So thanks for joining for even a little while if you can. Just trying to thicken up these lines a little bit. But yeah, if I hit this with a heat gun, it will get like nice and melty. And these pieces that I've laid down separately will all just kind of become one. So that's something that I often do while working with monster clay. It's just melt it all into one thing. And kind of work on it little by little. Oh, hey, Anna. Yes, sculpting stuff. It's sort of like a fake buckle. It doesn't really hold a belt. It holds some ribbon from her costume. It's like the front of her dress it has this ribbon that kind of crosses over each other, and the belt buckle, I mean, it's the buckle like kind of sits here with the ribbons going through it. So that's what we're working on. Man, so many people stayed up all night. Well, we appreciate the support. Thank you guys. I mentioned, obviously, Jared had his stream tonight, and I'm very, very proud of him for everything he's accomplished. And although my projects at this point are mostly funded through these streams, I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for Jared. So I guess I just wanted to say that as thanks to him, and thanks to a lot of you who also support him, and that you're supporting me as well when you do that, because I would not be able to do this full time if it weren't for him. Hey, Shia Does Stuff donated $10 saying, "Hi Heidi, your crafting streams are so chill, informative, and wonderful. So glad I could catch tonight's work. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your week." That is so sweet. Thank you so much, Shia Does Stuff. Making little sausage noodles at this point. Thanks, guys. Pretty elvish stuff. Yeah, this is really fun. I love all of Arwen's designs. The hardest part was choosing which one to make, honestly. I was really excited about several of her dresses, but I thought this one would be the most dynamic to pose with, because for a lot of Arwen's scenes, she's just kind of like hanging out by herself. She's featured in like a lot of dream sequences and stuff, where she appears to Aragorn, or like in his dreams, or just separately to, you know, in her own scenes. And she doesn't have like lots and lots of interaction. She like interacts with Elrond and like a few other elves and Aragorn, and that's like it. So I thought that it would be most interesting to do this outfit because in terms of like the types of cosplay photos I can get from it, this one has fighting poses, and I can hang out with Frodo or the Hobbits or whatever other members of the Fellowship. And like that wouldn't be out of character, out of place, because she does run into them, at least that group, early on in the film, the books. So this doesn't happen in the books, but whatever. But yeah, Arwen's cool. Happy little sausage noodles. She out of any character has the most outfits. I would not be surprised because she's like an elvish lady. So she's like sitting at home all the time in like pretty outfits, just like looking sad and shit. And that's like her role in the film. All right, now the hard part is what order do I lay down these last pieces in? I've got the two side pieces that are like connected. So these two are pretty much all laid out. These are done. It's just a matter of these interwoven ones. So none of them are like truly all the way underneath each other because they are overlapping. Do I have shoes for Arwen yet? No, in fact, I just added them to my stream wish list tonight. I picked out some base shoes that I'm gonna create like a boot cover that goes over. So those are on my stream wish list if anybody wants to help me out. They're like $15. And so for that amount, you could help buy me those shoes. But no, I haven't done any of that yet. I pretty much just started, well, this is like the very first thing that I've actively started working on, to be honest. I set up these patterns a little while ago, and now I am figuring out the placement for these guys. Hey, there's something from the wish list. Gift Nova donated $4 saying, I just fell asleep on my desk for a second, so it's off to bed for me. Have a nice stream. Thank you, Gift Nova. I appreciate that. And I will definitely put those to use. Yeah, that was not just $4. That was also, that was a $4 wishlist item. That was the little hooks and eyes. So thank you, Gift Nova. Thank you for your direct contribution to our artistic workshop here. Looking sad and shit, yeah, that's all Arwen does, but that's okay. I mean, she wields a sword at the very beginning, so that's why I'm that version of Arwen. Cloud 104 going to bed. Thanks. A lot of people also heading to bed. Okay. I wonder if I can just literally weave these together. Let's see what a bad idea this is. All the Lord of the Rings fans discussing lore in the chat. I love it. So I guess... I see what I need to do. The ending is the strangest outfit. People talking about Jared's new video. I did not make his Sailor Mercury costume. That is just an Amazon purchase because he wanted to wear it for Halloween. So that was originally what it was for. Oh, hey, Leoto, thank you! Donated $15 for those shoes. So now we have base shoes for Arwen. Thank you so much. That will help a lot. Okay, so there's another noodle that's like ready to get pushed down. And then the rest of these, okay, I guess I know which one to start with. Whatever, all of this weaving is fake anyway. I should just push it into flat shapes so that it will be flush against the background, honestly. So these two on the interior come down to be on the exterior. There. So these are basically like fake layers, but they're put together in such a way that they're all kind of built up from the ground or from the flat backing. So I'm trying to push it all the way down. And I'll add more on top there so it looks smooth. I also have too much fingernails. My fingernails make this a pain in the ass. But it's okay. I have patience and lots of time on my hands. So I'll need to do quite a bit of refining to these shapes to make it all nice and symmetrical and stuff. Part of it is that I don't want to put my head like under the camera and just totally block everything. So yeah, I'm gonna get to that. But anyway, this is giving me the base work that I need. All right, so we're kind of down to these last few shapes. I need to make sure that my lines are intersecting correctly, but we're starting to get there actually. Like I said, this will be a lot of refining, probably a lot of which will happen off camera, but I wanted to at least show the process for how I approach this kind of thing. You know, hopefully that makes sense. And I'll keep posting more progress and stuff as I have more to show for myself. Okay. Yeah, I make these noodles too thin. I need to keep them thick noodles. Any pro tips for a beginner for getting into cosplay? Just start doing it. Follow as many cosplayers as you can. Follow cosplayers on Twitch and YouTube. So many people post tons and tons of tutorials for how to do things. And for me, following people was just the first step to like kind of getting inspired to make things. I mean, I was already making things on my own, but when I started following cosplayers, when I first started feeling like a cosplayer, because I was like interacting with the community. Yeah, this one is going on top. So yeah, I would say just start with that. Start following people. Pick something that you want to do, whether it's ambitious or whether you feel like you already have the skill to do it. And then just start researching. Like if you want to make an armor project, then follow people who make armor and see what techniques they're using and see what materials they prefer. And, you know, search like how to make armor and see what the various tutorials tell you. And if you want to get into sewing, then follow people who primarily do sewing and just kind of watch what they're up to. And yeah, you just got to start doing it and just start researching things. So that one goes over the others. But first I'm going to do the other side. Yeah, so this is not this is not the final piece. This is just a temporary sculpt that ends up getting cast into a final piece that will be like plastic, basically. So this clay is really easy to work with for this type of situation because it never hardens, so I don't have to worry about like putting a cover over this and making sure it doesn't dry out or something like that, which you would have to do with water-based clays. This is an oil and wax-based clay, so it just stays soft forever. But, well, okay, when I say it never hardens, it never fully hardens to the point where it's like useful as a finished piece, but it is temperature sensitive, so I can point a heat gun at it and start to melt it, and then I can go and put it in my freezer if I really wanted to, and start to make the shapes, or make it harder by making it colder. And it's not gonna like totally harden it to the point where it's useful as a cosplay piece, but what it does is just controls kind of how malleable the material is. And that's what makes it useful for casting. So you wanna cast it while it's relatively hard, and you wanna sculpt with it while it's relatively soft. So like, I'll put heat lamps on and work under a heat lamp, or use my heat gun, or just my fingers, which is all I'm doing now, is just kind of like scraping out tiny bits like this and then just mushing it around with the heat from my body makes it soft enough to use. And then whenever my sculpt is all done, I'll let it just kind of cool off. I'll like give it some time so that it's not like warm. And then I pour silicone over it, and that's all it takes. So it's like hard enough to withstand casting, but it's soft enough to always be reusable. So after I pull it out of the mold, I just mush it back up and throw it back into the bin, and I can totally reuse it. Yeah, this would melt in a kiln. So this is not going in a kiln. Only certain types of clays get baked that way. Oh wait, this one goes... Hold on. I need to reassess. I'm gonna... put this down this side. We've been going for about an hour. I've got most of my base shapes laid down. I might just kind of do that much and then make it a short stream tonight. I mean, we'll see. Push that down to get rid of the space underneath. What have we got? Zia Kiva has subscribed. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. How often do I stream? I generally try to stream twice a week, but I often fail in meeting that goal. So I typically have scheduled streams every Wednesday evening and Saturday afternoon for my time zone, which is the west coast of the US. So I will be streaming again on this coming Saturday. I'll probably be continuing this piece. You know, I highly doubt, well, I don't know, it kind of depends on how much work I do on my own, but if I'm not continuing to sculpt at that point, then maybe I'll be ready to cast. We'll see. Cool, I'm almost done with this stupid weaving pattern that was really making me nervous. Are there supposed to be 8 noodles? Oh shit, you're right. Damn it, how many did I? You're right, I only put 6. All right, where's my missing noodle? Oh, there's just like an extra one on the side. You know what, I might even omit those because if I can't tell, let me look at my other reference image. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, I'll make sure that there's room for those other noodles. Boop. Oh well, I tried, guys. Yeah, there are supposed to be 8 noodles. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm missing noodle. Everyone's like, oh no, RIP noodles. It's okay. I should be able to slide these around without too much trouble. So the lines that I've put down are going the correct directions. They are just not dense enough, I believe. So this is the second one, yes, that comes down around into this piece, so that's correct. It just needs to be like slid over like that. So I can salvage what I've done. I'm just annoyed. So we will get the correct number of noodles in here. Do not worry. We've got this Wii. Is this the original Wii menu sounds? I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Or it's Wii U, but I think it's original Wii, if I recall correctly. Menu music remix to keep us company. Okay, so let's see if I can slide this over now. Just slice it. It's Wii U. Okay, it is Wii U. I just forget. So this is the Wii U. The noodles are saved, that's right. We're almost there. We've got our missing noodle right here. All right. Smush them down to kind of hold them in place, and then just start slicing them. That's like getting caught. Yeah, I might have to like melt this down to the board before I can get really satisfying clean noodles. Ooh, what song is this? Oh, sorry about the caps. Happy belated birthday. Thank you, Zia Kiva. I had a great birthday. I spent my day with Jared and we did some photography, and I wore a costume, but not a very difficult costume, just one that was fun and easy to walk around in. And had some really good food. So I feel like that's kind of as good a birthday as anyone can ask for, right? This is Monster Hunter? I'm surprised I did not recognize it from all of the Monster Hunter that gets played in this household. Not by me, but just in general. Alright, that one's kind of fat, but we're working on it. There we go. Finally got my 4th noodle on that side. They need to be cleaned up quite a bit more because they're all smushed together now, but don't worry, I'll get it. I wonder what Jared's up to. I hope he's like playing games for fun or something. He deserves it. He doesn't get to do that very often. Oh wait, this one's supposed to overlap, isn't it? I got caught up replacing my incorrect number of noodles. This one actually has another piece. Is that a piece of cat hair? I think I just pulled my first cat hair out of this thing, but not the last. So if I kind of melt this down, one of the benefits will be it'll give me a slightly smoother surface to start working with. And then secondly, it's going to kind of fill in the gaps that would otherwise pose problems during the mold making process. Anything that's kind of hollow on the underside will get filled in. Or at least I need to make sure that it does before I spend too much time like perfecting the surface. Because that will make my molding and casting process simpler. I think I'm going to try to do that on stream. I've never done that in front of people before because I'm always nervous about it, but I can do it. I know that it'll turn out fine, so I need to just go ahead and do it. Have I ever cosplayed as Ellie from Xenogears? No, but she's been on my list for so long. You rate this work in progress 7 out of 8 noodles? Oh, it's so accurate. But it hurts. Okay. I better make room for another noodle up here. So I need to thin them down slightly. They're too thick. Too thick up in here. So I think my fake weaving has gone pretty well. I think it's pretty solid on the underside. I'm sure there's like some kind of undercuts that need to be filled in. But for the most part, it's not a bunch of like empty space underneath these noodles that are overlapping because I built them flat from the surface up. And that way I can make a mold without destroying it trying to get my piece out. I hope anyway. Fingers crossed. I think it'll be good. Okay, that one's scooted over quite a bit now. This is Earthbound. This is also 20th anniversary of Xenogears. Well, that sounds like a pretty good reason. I'm gonna be honest with you. I bought a bunch of white leather to do Celica last year, and I put it away, and then my house flooded, and the leather was saved because it was like just out of the way of, out of the path of the water. But all of my other Celica supplies got ruined, so I abandoned that costume, but now I have a whole bunch of white leather, is what I'm trying to say. I could use that to make an Ellie costume. We'll see though, I have so much else on my plate. all the time. But that one has been in my intended costumes folder for like so many years. Since I started cosplay, basically. I've always wanted to do that costume and I never have gotten around to it. So, someday, before I quit cosplay, I'll cosplay from Xenogears. I have to fulfill all of my, like, younger cosplay dreams from before I was capable of making any of that stuff for sure. I don't know about this remix exactly, but the playlist that we're listening to, once again, is Radio Ketman. Search those words on YouTube. And this is a continuous 24-hour, never-ends radio station that you can listen to. It is 100% stream safe, so if you are also a streamer, you can jam this out in your streams and then export to YouTube and do whatever else you need to do. And it's all like royalty free, like you will not get copyright claims for these songs. So that's why it's extra popular among streamers, is because it's all good stream safe music. Just gonna smooth this out with my fingers a little bit. All right, we got our 8 noodles in there. They're a little bit messy right now, but I'm going to melt it down a little bit and smooth it out and it'll be great. What will I be casting this in? I'm going to make a mold out of silicone, and then I'm going to cast it out of probably just some onyx resin from Smooth On. It's really easy stuff to use, and like I said, I'm going to try to do that on stream. It's really, really basic casting for the most part. Like there's no... Despite how intimidating the design looks, if I do it right, it shouldn't pose any problems. That's what I was trying to say from the beginning, where it's like, as long as I execute this in the way that I intend to, it shouldn't matter that there's all these like weird overlapping pieces, because it'll really just be solid. Anyway, I'll try to do that on stream and show you guys what I'm up to. One thing I really enjoy is how much streaming has allowed me to do things outside of what I'm just normally doing with the sewing. Oh, hey! Drownix donated $5 and got that fabric glue stick, saying, "So excited to see the progression of this cosplay. I love Arwen so much. She's so elegant and strong in her chase scene." I agree. Thank you so much, and thanks for that fabric glue stick. Which will definitely be helpful in making all kinds of things. So I appreciate that. I'm getting really close to putting all of the clay down on this thing. Or at least most of it. Now, I also need to add like surface detail to this, but my main goal tonight was just to create the shapes so that I would know where things needed to be laid out. And I think we're going to make that goal quite nicely. All right, so I need to scrape out a little bit more clay. We're really close. Good night, Casual Viking. Glad you could stop by. Shannon's Corner is asking, what do you use a fabric glue stick for? Instead of pins or a basting stitch? Yeah, the fabric glue stick, oh hey, Crystal Fear donated $4. And that was to cover one of the foam core board pieces. That was actually part of the giant Toblerone. I just like kind of threw all my supplies up on the wish list. So yeah, some of those things have technically already been bought, but it all is supporting the expenses that go into making these things, so thank you so much for that. I need to build this up from the bottom. I forgot what I was saying. Maybe someone can remind me. You know, just rambling about making stuff. Giant Toblerone! That was so fun. Forget your question? Oh, I was talking about the fabric glue sticks. Yeah, they're really good for temporary holds. So like if I'm doing an applique or something that I want to put a piece of fabric onto another fabric and then stitch around the edges, I will use that fabric glue stick to hold everything in place temporarily, so it's just like stuck on there real good, and then stitch around the edges, because that just makes it way less of a pain in the ass. So yeah, that's what the fabric glue stick is for. And I recently, oh, when I was making Zelda, I used up all of my fabric glue stick, the one that I had, so I was just like, that's a general shop supply I can add to my wish list to replenish. Alright, it's starting to look like the shape. Hey! Still really rough around the edges, but the forms are there. So sculpting is usually like a process of kind of like roughing it out and then going back and gradually refining it, little by little. Anubis Ash said that during Jared's live stream someone was just gifting subs like candy. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, keeping that sub train going. That was a really exciting stream. I was just kind of like lurking for almost all of that, but it was really, really cool to see it all happening. Okay. I think I finally reached the point where I think the next thing that should happen is just trying to like loosely melt the surface here and kind of get these shapes to kind of fill in the gaps naturally and kind of all melt into each other. So I think that's a pretty good time to call it quits for the night. Kind of want to go spend some time with Jared. If he is indeed relaxing somewhere, if he's not literally asleep, then maybe we can catch up on a TV show or something. But I wanted to stream tonight. It was my normal streaming time, and so here I am. I did my thing. Yeah, at this point it's not really worth it to like try to start refining the shapes very much, because it's gonna need to get like several passes probably. But a little bit of melting to kind of fill in gaps and things, and then working over the shapes and making sure everything is flowing into itself the way that it should. But hey, there it is. That's it. That's the thing. Alright, thanks guys. Some plastic wrap on it. Yeah, I think I will. I'll put something over it just so the cat hair doesn't get in it. That's gonna be it for me tonight. I went for like almost an hour and a half. That's not too bad. Thank you guys for hanging out with me after such a long day. So many people already part of Jared's stream. But I appreciate it, and I will be back on Saturday with more progress on this, whether I'm sculpting or molding then, but it should be pretty good. So, all right, thank you guys so much for the support and for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye!